Hello everybody, my name is Adam, and we're gonna celebrate Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Now, so this is Martin Luther King Jr. Day is because when he was born, and we had to celebrate it because he's a humanitarian and he's a spokesperson and he's kind of special. And we gotta celebrate it. Okay, so Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January. I was about to say November. I messed it up. Darn it. Okay, let's say this again. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15th, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia. And he was a spokesperson, and he has a famous "I have a dream" speech, which is what he said, and that word was famous, and he made his word big, like real big. That means it's famous. And the whole story about him, his real name was Michael King, and his dad, which is Mike, which is Martin Luther King. His dad's real name was Michael, and he wanted his name to be Martin Luther King, and he wanted his same name to his son, Martin Luther King Jr. And Martin Luther King Jr. has a real name called Michael, just like his dad, and and he's very smart, and he got to college at the age of 15. And I know how he did it. He will I know how he do it. I know how did he go to college real fast. It's because he studied real hard that he went to college, and then he went to all places to civil rights. But when Martin Luther King Jr. tried to make a white friend, they were playing baseball actually. I don't know, or tag. Well, the white boy's friend said, he said, what did I say about not playing with black people? But Mom, he's my friend. And he said, no, but let's go. And guys, that's really meaningful. And it's kind of racist too, but it's kind of mean. It is real mean because it's racist, and yeah. So he had no choice but to grow up and make civil rights, and he went to places like Alabama, his hometown, Georgia, and to Pennsylvania, and then he went to Boston for college, and he met a woman named I forgot the name. I'll be right back, guys. Alright, his girlfriend was Corette. Hold on. His girlfriend was Coretta Scott King. It was Martin Luther King's girlfriend, and they got married, of course. And the longest living son and the oldest living son was Martin Luther King III. Yeah. Martin Luther King III was the son of Martin Luther King, and right now he's 60 years old now, and he met Donald Trump 1 day ago, and yeah. So there was this one day that Martin Luther King just heard that Rosa Parks was at the bus, and the white cop decided. So the white cop said, "You need to get out of the seat." The what was it? He said, "Man, you gotta get out of the seat." The folks wants to sit there, and she refused to get out of her seat too. And then the cop arrested her for refusing to get out of the seat, and which is of course the bus. I don't know. And and then on 1963, Martin Luther King was the youngest person to ever win a Nobel Peace Prize. And he was 32 when he got that. So congrats for him. And then he fought for civil rights. And then on that day, there was an accident. Some white person just threw a baseball on Martin Luther King's house, which is his hometown. And I forgot to tell you this. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King, they were married in Alabama. I forgot to tell you that. So some white person just threw a baseball in his in Martin Luther King's house, which is the window. and Martin Luther King came to investigate. and then he explained some civil rights. And then he explained something to not do something violent, which is called non-violence. And he don't want it violence, because it's not a choice for violence. And then he said non-violence, and I'm talking about the full story of him. And then someday later, one day later, some black people were fighting for civil rights, and then the cops, and then the cop dogs were there, and then the firefighters began to brutally attack these black people, and the police dog was biting the black person, and the water hose, it was the water was real huge, that when you that it washes that it shoots the black person and he went sliding. That's brutal, man. I know. It came out into a tragedy, and yeah. And he had a dream that some black girls and white girls be together, and some black boys and black and white boys, and and then he says he had a dream today, and what happens next is that in 1968, on April 4th, 1968, he was assassinated by James Ray. Yeah, he was assassinated on April 4th, 1968, by James Ray, and James Ray was captured months later, and he died in Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah, and I think in 3 months we're gonna I think celebrate his death, and we wanted him to come back. Yeah, this is sad. And I wanted you to tell you this a whole story about him, is that we can thank him for that. That all white boys and black boys came together, and some black girls and white girls came together, and yeah. So that was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. I hope you enjoyed the story about him, and we thank him for that. He's really smart, and he studied real hard, and that he went to college early, and yeah. And if you live in Atlanta, if you live in Georgia, then you could find his place in Atlanta, Georgia, and then it will say birthplace by on Martin Luther King Jr.'s house, and it will say the birth house of Martin Luther King Jr. It will say that, and if you go there, then I think it might be a field trip. I don't know, but you could see some really awesome stuff on this house when he got assassinated on April 4th, 1968. And yeah, it was a really sad story for him. And yeah. So, guys, that was Martin Luther King Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. So thank you everybody so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.